If the commerce that shaped Canada's future began anywhere, it is here, at Tadoussac, on the St. Lawrence River. Ever since Cartier's time, French and Basque fishermen have been trading furs with the Montagnais Indians. At first, it is only a sideline. But by the early 17th century, the profits are turning out to be spectacular. The Canadian furs are thick and shiny, good enough to command the highest prices in Europe. One of the French adventurers at Tadoussac in the summer of 1608 is a former soldier turned explorer and mapmaker. His name is Samuel de Champlain. Champlain's backers order him to find a new location away from the competition.
The country is fine and level, and the soil better than in any place I had seen, with extensive woods. Along the shores, one would think the trees had been planted as ornaments.
He comes up with a bold but simple plan. Go beyond Tadoussac into the little-known lands farther west, build a new trading post, and spend the winter there. When spring comes, the Indians of the interior will bring their furs to Champlain first. In July, he sets off along the river with 100 men and stops at a place he has seen once before.
I looked for a proper place for our settlement, but I could find nothing more suitable or better situated than the point of Quebec, so called by the natives, which was covered with nut trees. I at once employ a part of our workmen in cutting them down to make a site for our settlement.
Champlain's men quickly build a storehouse and 3 fortified buildings. But his competitors will not allow themselves to be bypassed so easily. There is a traitor in Champlain's little band, the locksmith Jean Duval. The Basque bribe Duval, order him to murder Champlain and hand over Quebec to them. At the last minute, Champlain discovers the plot. He has been a soldier and knows how to handle mutineers.
To serve as an example, Jean Duval was hanged and strangled, and his head put on the end of a pike and set up in the highest point of our fort.
As summer comes to an end, most of Champlain's men return to France. Only 27 remain with him to face the Canadian winter. It comes almost without warning, but Champlain has already spent 3 winters in Acadia and thinks he knows the worst.
The cold was more extreme than in France and lasted much longer. You don't know this country unless you spent winter there. There are 6 months of winter in this country.
Champlain is sure his men have everything they might need.
All those who were with me were well clad, slept in good beds, and were kept warm and well fed.
While Champlain works on his maps, his men wait and wait. Among them, a surgeon, Bonherme, and a man named Lataille. The youngest is Etienne Brûlé, just 16. Champlain considers him a son and calls him my boy. As the weeks passed, they dream of the world they have left behind. In France that winter, the laws of fashion rule, and they decree that every gentleman must have a beaver hat. The finest hats cost 4 times what one of Champlain's men earns in a year. Philip Stubbs watches as the trend reaches England.
Every man does wear of these hats, for he is of no account or estimation among men if he have not a hat. As the fashions are rare and strange, so is the stuff from which their hats are made. The most curious are those made of a certain kind of fine hair. These they call beavers.
But the pursuit of fashion has its price. Europe's insatiable demand for beaver skins claims its first victims at Quebec. It's February 1609.
The scurvy began very late. The sickness attacks those who take great care of themselves as much as the most wretched. 18 were struck down with it, and of these, 10 died.
Bonnerme, the surgeon, is dying. Champlain himself is struck down. It appears that winter will achieve what the Basques have failed to do: destroy Champlain's outpost. Their suffering drags on for months. But finally, spring comes, and with it, fresh food and hope.
It is a remarkable thing that 2 or 3 fathoms of snow and ice on the river should all be melted in less than 12 days. On the 8th of April, the air was still rather cold. Some of those who were ill with the scurvy got better. On the 5th of June, there arrived at our settlement a ship, which gave me much joy and relief. Of our company, now only 8 of the 28 remained, and half of these were ailing.
Just 8 men left. Sick and exhausted, barely alive. No one realizes they have staked a claim that will resound for centuries. But Canada belongs to someone else. The French need allies and teachers if they are to unlock the secrets of this land. There is much to learn.